Pala, many thanks for the introduction. Shri Raigaji, Honorable Consul General of India, dear other team members of the Consulate General, friends, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this invitation to me to join the meeting today and to have the privilege and pleasure to speak with you today about the issues that concern the diaspora, the Indian diaspora in Germany, and especially in the consular jurisdiction area of the CGI Hamburg. So very obviously, like I have not done a study on this, so it is going to be about my personal subjective perceptions, my experiences, what I've seen, and what I see changing. And as Dr. Ramani was mentioning, I've been doing quite a lot of work in regard to India. We had the German-Indian Roundtable here in Hamburg. So do organize events also as a part of the India Week Hamburg. And by the way, Dingraji, maybe just a small, let's say like adding on to the point of the India Week Hamburg. Actually, like it's the initiative is even more than an initiative of the Hamburg government. This idea was mooted in 2006 with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Hamburg Investment, at that time known as HWF, the Economics Ministry in Hamburg, the German-Indian Roundtable. So there were many institutions that came. So the Hamburg Senate came actually 1 year later to this, but then they really supported in a big manner. So what I wanted to say is that this initiative has really had a lot of support from within Hamburg, from different institutions, including obviously from the Consulate General of India. So as I said, I'm going to speak a bit about my personal experiences and perspectives in order to come to where I see issues regarding the Indian diaspora. So I'll take a little bit of a personal journey and connect it to some dots that I myself have experienced, or those dots that I saw, found, and was able to connect. I came to Hamburg about 22 years back in 1998. So at that time, Hamburg had a really small Indian diaspora. If you went out, it was not as normal as it is today to see someone looking apparently to be an Indian, looking like being an Indian. So many times you simply got addressed at the street if there was someone else coming from the same region. Oh, excuse me, are you from India? So it was a very different experience. And it also showed the need for having this community support. Many years back around that time, I had been here already for about 1 year. I was a student of the student colleague in the beginning for 1 year. Then I joined the University of Hamburg. By the way, when I joined the student colleague Hamburg, I was told that I was the first ever Indian student at the student colleague in Hamburg. When I went to the University of Hamburg for my studies, I was the only Indian, and I was told I was the second one who had been there in recent past whom people were aware about. So it was a very different diaspora at that point of time. And I remember going to the consulate at that time for reading the literature, like it was the era when we did not have the widespread internet that we have today. If you wanted to read a news about India, sometimes it would take months that some German newspaper would be reporting about India. There was no social media. It was very difficult to connect to India, to remain connected, to have friends and family and relatives on your fingertips. So what was happening is that it was quite a different period, and the consulate at that point of time, the other associations like the DIG, they provided a great help in getting integrated here. And I was mentioning an incidence in the beginning to illustrate one point, how important it sometimes can be to have the community. support. I was once going to the TU. I was not a student there. I was just going to the library. And then someone came, someone saw me, he walked to me, and then he asked, excuse me, are you from India? And I said, yes. And then he said, do you speak Hindi? I said, हाँ, बोलता हूँ. And then he said, would you mind coming over to my apartment? I just live here. I'm very new here, and I really started feeling very lonely. I would be very grateful if you'd come over for a cup of tea with me. So I said, okay, why not? Then I went. He used to live close by. We went there. We had a cup of tea, and then he said he had been there for about a month and a half. We did not know anyone in Germany or in Hamburg. He had come to the TU. At that time, he was one of the only few Indian students. TU was just beginning to launch English language courses. So there was no one who was really speaking English in those summer days. The university was empty. And then we became friends, and he completed his studies, went back to India, is one of the leading management person in a multinational company in India. But it shows the need for having a support base when you go abroad. So this is what Hamburg was. And this diaspora has undergone a significant change. Dhingraji was showing that in Hamburg, we have about 20,000 persons of Indian origin in the consular jurisdiction of the CGI Hamburg. So I mean, in those 4 states. In Hamburg alone, we have about 8,500 persons of Indian origin, so including citizens and those who have a German passport. Just 10 years back, this number was about 3,000, so 3 times less. If you look at the numbers in Germany overall, then the numbers have increased within the past 6 years from about 60,000 to more than 143,000 Indian citizens, plus about 20,000 people who have a German passport or some other different passport. So the numbers have increased really a lot. What has that meant? It has meant that also we have a very heterogeneous group of people now. About 25 years back, 20 years back, or longer back, most of the people that you had in the diaspora, they were mostly like first-generation migrants to Germany. Many of them were business people. And apart from them, others were very often working either in Indian restaurants, Indian shops. So the community had a very different structure. Today, what we have is a very different community from those days. Today, a majority of people who are coming afresh to Germany are either students or working professionals. When I came to Germany in 1998, the entire Federal Republic of Germany had close to 800 Indian students. Today, we have over 25,000 Indian students. We hardly saw any working professional here at that point of time because it was not allowed mostly. It is only I believe in 2002 when this this initiative called the German Green Card was introduced by the then government under Gerhard Schröder. So that's how it started slowly. And today we have a big number of Indian working professionals. I was having a look at the figures, and I believe India is the #1 country outside of the European Union that receives work permits for highly qualified people joining Germany. So we are the nature, the structure of the diaspora is changing. We are also getting more second-generation immigrants, people whose children have grown up here and are working here now, or young professionals who have joined Germany with their families and the children have been either born here or they came with very young children who are going to German schools, who are getting familiar with the local German culture, who are maybe also quite proficient with the German language. So what we see is a very heterogeneous group of members of the Indian community here today. And that shows that the concerns that have been there around the community, they would have also changed somewhat. So I think what we have to do basically today is, in my opinion, there are 3 points. One is how to provide what type of support from the community perspective to people who are moving afresh from India to Germany, and in our case, to this northern part of Germany. So what sort of things would be required? How can we help them find a connection here? This is something which has become relevant, and in some case qualitatively different, because earlier, when you did not have such a large community, and especially if you did not have that connection to back home to your family and friends, you needed a much greater emotional support. Today, maybe it is more about helping people find a connection to this society. So this is where we can bring in some support for the people. Secondly, it is like about how to enable the possibility of a strong connection to India and being Indian, while also fostering integration in the local culture. So, so that we help people find an excellent place in this society while retaining their connection to India. We should help people finding a great integration here and retaining their identity with India, their connection to India. People do not need to get into ghettos. If you are in Germany, then you should not be just physically in Germany, you should be actually involved in Germany. So, so that you have a more enriching experience of both cultures, of both nations. So this is where we can provide a connection, a support system, an incentive for the diaspora to get more involved with both our nations. And once we get integrated here, I believe also that it would necessarily also mean that we participate in almost anything that happens around here, and we do not carry the baggage of what's going on in India on day-to-day basis on the political front, etc. That sometimes people are only concerned with what's going on in India. I would say should be concerned with everything. What's going on in India, what's going on in Germany, where you are living and making your daily life, what's happening around with the global world. So everything that is connected to our life in this planet, this is where I think we can support in those cases where it is required, obviously. And third, from my point of view, how to make the Indian community and its contribution to the local culture, society, economy, sciences more visible. I mentioned that the highest number of people from outside the EU coming to Germany on a working visa, that's very high, and that's the highest number for any other country. So there is a lot of work, there's a lot of support that's going on. And similarly, we have many people who are working in research, who are creating innovative solutions, who are working on innovations. So that way they are supporting not only the local economy, the local sciences, but they're making a contribution to the planet and for India, obviously, including. So those things, those positive examples need to be supported, need to be brought out to the fore. So that would help the community and all others. And I believe we have some very good examples. Our moderator today, Dr. Bala Ramani, is one of the great examples of how people can do it. He's doing apart from his own work at the university, what he does is he has done so much work for the Indian community, for the Indian students community, as Raigarji mentioned earlier, and he is involved with the politics, is very actively engaged in the German politics. I think these are very good examples that need to be supported, that need to be brought out. The initiative that the consulate has co-initiated with our NISARG project, where we try to bring out the contribution of scientific and research personnel and colleagues in Germany. So NISARG, Network of Indian Origin Scientists, research scholars, and in Germany, right? So NISARG. So that initiative, the Wednesday Dialogue series, I believe these are very good examples, very good initiatives that go in this right direction from my point of view. And for that, I believe to achieve that, we need to find some new ways to connect with people. Our traditional ways have been successful in the past, but many times because the group of people who is coming in is very heterogeneous. So we need to find ways to address people, to get them involved with our associations, with the India Week, for example. So with digital transformation today, we have many new possibilities. We can help people find a connect to Germany while promoting India and the bilateral relations. And I think I can say that our associations and the Consulate General has been doing a tremendous effort in this regard. Thingraji showed some of the initiatives that have been going on, and I believe that personally, Consul General Raigar has been very active and has really undertaken many outreach efforts. And the entire team at the Consulate General has been working on this, in my personal opinion, really hard and in a very motivated manner, despite having obviously limited resources. And similarly, many associations have put in a lot of effort. And apart from associations, people like Pala have put a lot of individual effort. So I believe there is a lot of work which is coming in from within the diaspora. There is a lot of institutional support from within Germany in this regard, and within Hamburg, or in the other federal states which fall under the jurisdiction of the Consulate General of India. So I believe we need to make use of these opportunities, these synergies, and then go in a direction which is mutually benefit for the Indian diaspora and for our two countries. So thank you very much. These are some of my thoughts that I wanted to share with you. And if you have any questions or comments, would like to discuss on something, I look forward to listening from you. Thank you very much.